Workers in distress. Many county healthcare workers have gone 4 months without pay. The delay in paying salaries in some counties like Mombasa may not end anytime soon. And for those in the front line against the deadly COVID-19, the allowances are still a mirage. As COVID-19 shatters private schools, it is a case of bad to worse for many private schools. Many of their teachers have gone without pay for 2 months now. They may not earn a shilling until the end of January next year. Private school proprietors are not having it easy either. The details on the program tonight. And another campaign for Amina. President Uhuru Kenyatta leads another crusade for CS Amina Mohammed to join the World Trade Organization. A similar campaign for her to join the AU in 2017 failed to yield. Uhuru wants her out of the cabinet, but will the soft landing receive Amina with open arms this time?
This is TV47 News Tonight with Abubakar Abdullahi.
Ann Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, begins right now. To our top story. Majority of Kenyans were not able to pay their rent in May due to the economic times occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to National Treasury CS Ukuri Atani, who launched a second wave report on socio-economic impact of COVID-19. Mumbi Chege begins our broadcast tonight.
A survey conducted between 30th of May and June 6th this year established that 37% of Kenyans were unable to pay rent for the month of May, while 31.6% were able to pay on time, many of them citing reduction of income as the main reason, and only 0.7% receiving any form of waiver or relief from their landlords. 72.2% of households reported that their main cause of worry is the COVID-19 pandemic, 21.6% concerned about food security, 78.1% admitted are not food secure, and 78.8% lamented over the increase in food prices. Mumbi Chege, TV47.
Elsewhere, the government's directive to restore international flights next month has elicited mixed reaction. This follows an announcement by Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia that people traveling into the country once flights resume will not be taken into mandatory quarantine if they do not exhibit COVID-19 symptoms. The airline capacity will also not be altered to pave way for social distancing amid the government instructing transport entities to enforce social distancing. David Mudoka reports.
A few days after President Uhuru Kenyatta directed the return of local and international flights as part of reopening the nation, this directive by Transport CS James Macharia the following day has further fueled debate on whether the government is wielding the containment measures sword fairly to all transport entities.
All passengers shall be exempt from quarantine on arrival at their destinations if their body temperatures is not above 37.5 degrees Celsius and they do not have a persistent cough, difficulty in breathing, and other flu-like symptoms.
The CS stating that visitors will not be subjected to a mandatory COVID-19 test if they do not exhibit symptoms at a time when the government is wary of asymptomatic patients. In other East African nations such as Rwanda, however, visitors are expected to undergo a 24 hours quarantine upon arrival at their own cost. This happening regardless of having a COVID-19 negative certificate. Health CS Mutahi Kagwe has nevertheless defended the government, saying anyone on board will have to be tested and obtain credible and relevant certification at their countries of origin. Thus, there will not be a need for retesting upon arrival unless a person shows signs of contracting the COVID-19 disease.
You must have a negative certificate before you board the plane, whether it is individual, whether it is home, or whether it is institutional. That is the current protocol, and that protocol has not changed. What has changed, and what we hope, is that it is going to change by the time we open international airspace, because hopefully by then will either have found a way of ensuring that if you are negative tested, that sustains itself.
The social distancing double standard in transport entities has caused a stir, with public service vehicles and passenger train Madaraka Express expected to regulate their capacity on board. Airlines' capacity will remain undeterred as per the government. David Muthoka, TV47.
Elsewhere, Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union is accusing some counties of deliberately delaying healthcare workers' salaries even as the country continues to face hard economic times. Mohammed Ali reports.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, has urged county governments to pay their health workers at a time when the country is in an economic crisis.
Ili wafanyikazi wa afya waweze kuwa na amani ya kuweza kutibu wa Kenya, walipwe kwa haraka na pia waweze kupandishwa ngazi zao katika kazi ili wawe na motisha zaidi wa kuweza kuwatibu wa Kenya.
Through its acting secretary general, KMPDU pointed out Mombasa County among the counties that have delayed salaries for health workers. Yet the county governor Ali Hassan Joho traveling out of the country.
Lakini najua kaunti ambazo zimeshatoa ilani kwamba watachelewesha mishahara, ambayo ni jambo halieleweki maana wengine wameshalipa. Tunajua Kisii wametoa ilani, Mombasa walikuwa wametoa ilani. Kisumu ndio hao waliamua kupigana na wafanyikazi wa afya na madaktari, hawataki kuhakikisha kwamba wanaweza kulipa na kuweza kuwapandisha ngazi daraja zao ili waweze kurudi kazini na waweze kufanya kazi.
However, the Ministry of Health has set aside 3.4 billion shillings that will be used to pay health workers for allowances for 3 months.
Hiyo marupurupu imepatikana. Hata ile ingine sisi tulisema, ya health workers, we have allocated 3.4 billion shillings as the 3 months. We give it for 3 months. We will see whether it is possible, but at least that 3 months, that is there.
KMPDU is worried about the health of frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19.
But even as we are recording the highest number of cases, a very big issue and of concern to us as KMPDU is the number of healthcare workers who've gotten infected from COVID-19.
The exact number of health workers infected with the COVID-19 virus is still in the dark, as the exact numbers have not been given out by the Ministry of Health and the concerned authorities. Mohammed Ali, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, the country is now almost hitting the 9,000 mark on the COVID-19 recorded cases. This is after the highest ever number of new cases were recorded today at 447. Nanok Lorraine reports.
Kenya has recorded the highest ever positive cases with 447 cases recorded from 3,803 samples, with the country now 25 cases away from the 9,000 mark. 64 patients were discharged from hospital, while 4 patients succumbed to the virus, bringing the total number of deaths in the country to 173. Nairobi is leading with 318 cases recorded today. Kiambu County recorded 33 cases, Kajiado 25, Nakuru 23, Machakos 18, and Mombasa 14 new cases. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe urging Kenyans not to relent in adhering to the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health.
Kiwa unashonga miraa, tafadhali chukua kidogo, kaa mbali kidogo. Si lazima uwe kabisa karibu sana na yule mwingine. Si lazima, unaweza kaa kidogo na miraa itaingia tu vile kawaida yake. Vile inaingia ukiwa karibu, ndio inaingia ukiwa mbali kidogo. Hakuna tofauti. Kwa hivyo jameni, tafadhalini, ukiwa inaingia matatu, wewe angalia hiyo matatu iko namna gani. Ukiona imejaa, watu wanakaa kama sardines, usiingie hiyo gari.
And with the lifting of cessation of movement in Nairobi, Mombasa and Mandera counties, the government has cautioned Kenyans against urban-rural migration.
Jameni, ukisikia watu wako usiku, wanacheza muziki katika bar, na hiyo maneno bwana commissioner, unajua hivyo the curfew is still on, and now that the police have got a bit of more time, you can be sure they are going to be very, very vigilant. So if I were you, I would not be out in the streets at 9 o'clock, particularly those who run entertainment centers, the bars. Tafadhalini, let's keep them closed.
Nanok Lauren, TV47.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says the next World Trade Organization head should be an African. This as Kenya continues to lobby for the nomination of Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohamed for the position. Zainab Mohamed with the details.
She is among the most prominent women in the country. Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohamed is not a new name to many. She has held numerous positions in government and has been nominated for several international positions, with the government now lobbying for her selection as the head of the World Trade Organization. On Thursday, President Uhuru Kenyatta expressed his confidence in Amina's skills and insisted the next World Trade Organization's head should be an African.
We are a country that will strongly back Ambassador Mohamed, whom we are extremely proud of, and we do believe that she does, within her, have the capacity to take world trade to a whole new level and to bring consensus at a time that it is greatly needed in the World Trade Body.
While accepting her nomination, Amina says should she get the job, she will use her skills to create a liberalized trading system that will not only benefit Kenya, but the continent as well.
I have spent a significant part of my career in advocating for a liberalized trading system that would benefit all countries, and particularly ours on the continent.
Kenya will be in the race with 5 other countries in the world, and if Amina is selected, she will not only be the first African to hold the position, but the first woman to serve at the helm of the body. World Trade Organization's head is selected after consensus, and a decision is expected on the 31st of August this year. For TV47, I'm Zainab Mohamed.
Thank you, Zainab Mohamed, who was reporting on Amina Mohamed's case. Moving on. The impeachment motion against Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu by the county MCAs can now proceed after the High Court threw away a case filed by Ngilu stopping her ouster motion. Elsewhere, jailed Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke is seeking a bond to enable his release as he waits for the hearing of his appeal. Mwangi Maina reports.
While throwing out the case filed by Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, High Court Judge Weldon Karil ruled out that the application by the governor did not merit the issuance of conservatory orders, putting on hold her impeachment motion by the Kitui members of County Assembly. While opposing the conservatory orders and the case filed by Ngilu, the Kitui County Assembly argued that Ngilu was merely nervous since the motion was yet to be tabled or debated on the floor of the House. Ngilu had moved to court on 25th June, where Justice Weldon Karil granted her conservatory orders barring the county MCAs from proceeding with the impeachment motion. Ngilu argued that the motion would have denied her the right to a fair hearing. County MCAs are seeking to remove Ngilu from office on basis of gross violation of the Constitution and the County Governments Act for failing to honor summons to the Senate. The MCAs can now continue with the impeachment motion. Meanwhile, embattled Sirisia MP John Waluke has filed an urgent application seeking for bond, arguing that the appeal case he has filed may take time to be heard and determined. Waluke was convicted for 67 years in jail or pay 727 million Kenya shillings in a corruption case involving maize storage for the National Cereals and Produce Board. He was convicted alongside Grace Wahungu, who managed to raise the hefty fine fee. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, the judiciary now says that the recent budget cuts will stall projects that had been started across the country by the arm of the government. This is according to Chief Registrar Ann Amadi, who was speaking in Homa Bay while inspecting judiciary projects. She says that the budget cuts were unfairly targeted at the judiciary. Amadi further says that the judiciary will hire more judges to deal with the backlog of cases.
Fortunately, the just finished financial year, we managed to get some money. It came late though, and so the work is now going on. So the main problem has been funding, and even for this financial year that we've just begun, we have made provision for it. Yes, the backlog was compromised as a result of the COVID-19, but we're also recruiting new magistrates. There'll soon be an advert for people to apply. We want to have another 50 extra magistrates. So we believe that with extra hands, we should be able to cover some ground in terms of reducing backlog.
You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, 17 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take our first short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Now, the government through the Ministry of Agriculture has released 94 million shillings to be paid to coffee farmers in the country. This happens as the government continues to set regulations meant to improve the coffee sector. Meanwhile, Agriculture CS Peter Munya has directed all companies buying and selling coffee on behalf of cooperative and farmers to disclose full price for transparency purposes.
In order to enhance transparency and accountability in coffee sales, henceforth, all coffee marketing agents will be required to disclose and publicize the prices for all coffee they sell through direct sale on behalf of farmers in the manner demonstrated by new KPCU today. And the Agriculture and Food Authorities therefore hereby directed to ensure compliance with this directive. If you are a marketer and you are selling coffee on behalf of cooperative societies, we are therefore requiring you as part of the condition for continuing to give you a license to sell coffee for full disclosure of the prices at which you sold farmers coffee.
Now, Bungoma County government has partnered with anti-gender-based violence NGOs to mitigate the vice which is on the rise in that county. As our reporter Mike Agwongo now reports, the cases have increased during the COVID-19 pandemic and many victims are not reporting it.
Meet Bridget Chepkemoi, a gender-based violence victim. Chepkemoi was assaulted during the 2007-2008 post-election violence, and the trauma of that moment is still weighing her down.
Baada ya kitendo hicho kufanyika, wakati mwingi mimi ambacho nimetendewa kitendo hicho sijielewi. So information wenye kupeana information ni mtu mwingine tu. Kitambo mimi nifikiwa kuulizwa kupeana information, ila hali niko ndani yake, wakati mwingine siwezi kupeana the correct information.
The pain has refused to go away 13 years later. But there is now hope for Chepkemoi and other victims of gender-based violence in Bungoma County. Bungoma County government has partnered with Maristops to sensitize residents on the need to report GBV cases. Evelyn Kakai is CEC for Gender and Sports in Bungoma County.
Hii gender-based violence ama SGBV inafanywa na wale watu wako close sana na ule mdhulumiwa. For example, a relative. Na culture nayo hairuhusu mtu kuwa exposed. So utakuta in most of the time haya mambo yanaongelewa kinyumbani chini ya mti na yanafunikwa mpaka mdhulumiwa hatapata haki.
Wakati tunapata hizi cases of gender-based violence kwa shule, tunajua mahali tunaweza report, tunajua mahali tunaweza refer, because we are working hand in hand with the gender-based department of Bungoma County.
County officers confirmed that the cases have spiked during the COVID-19 pandemic, but assure that efforts have been made to address the crisis.
Most of the time, the victim tends to get tired of going to court and feels like probably they should give up because it's expensive, it's time consuming, and it's demoralizing every time to. It can even take 2 to 3 years to convict a sex offender. So
tunaona ya kwamba visa vingi havija ripotiwa hapa ama kwa polisi kwa sababu one, zingine zinakuanga the affected are relatives. Unaona mtu mwenye ame defile mtoto ni baba yake ama ni mchomba wake ama ni mtu wa ukoo. Sasa wanaona afadhali waimalizie kule nyumbani kuliko kuripoti kwa center hapa ama kwa polisi. Lakini wakati watu Good Samaritans wanapotuambia maneno kama hayo, huwa tunajaribu kuwafikia.
Teachers too have come out and are calling on parents to be in the forefront in guiding their children who need to remain safe until schools reopen in January next year.
Hawa watoto ambao wanastahili kuwa shule hivi sasa wanapatwa na stress na frustrations kwa sababu wanafunzi walikuwa na individual goals. Kuna wale ambao walitarajia kugraduate mwaka huu, kuna wale ambao walitarajia kufanya mitihani za kitaifa mwaka huu, na kuna wale ambao walitarajia kufanya mitihani zao za promotion mwaka huu. Lakini ukiona jinsi mambo yanaenda ni kwamba hawatafanya. So it brings a lot of frustrations and stress to them. Na inapelekea kuleta conflict ambao tempers zao zinapanda na inaleta a lot of conflict.
And now the probability of having such a cases is high now that they are staying at home for a long period, unexpected, and even they don't know when they will be going back to school.
Meanwhile, elders have called on the strict adherence to regulations regarding gender-based violence so as to ensure that culprits are brought to book.
Tukitaka tushinde katika COVID-19 hii, wanaume wajifunze kuishi na watoto wao. Tuache mambo ya kutoroka majukumu ya kuishi nje. tuishi nyumbani na tutengeze mazingira yetu ili watoto wetu waweze kusoma.
We need to ensure that the men and the women are aware that this is not right, that it is not wrong, and at no point should it be justified.
Reporting for TV47 from Bungoma County, I'm Mike Kagwango.
Lamu Governor Fahim Twaha has been given 2 weeks to present documents from the Auditor General's office to support an expenditure of more than 222 million shillings in his county. The county boss was appearing before the Senate's Public Accounts Committee. Elizabeth Mutuku reports.
Before you are brought here, it means you are given almost like 4 chances to bring these documents, and you are unable to do so.
Is there or not? Then you can be able to help us who are in Nairobi, that despite the documents not provided, we went on the ground and there is literally nothing.
Be running a government that has some records you gave to the auditor about projects, but they are not supporting documents, and then you come and tell us here that you don't even know whether those projects are on the ground. That is very worrisome, because Lamu people or the Senate cannot ask any other person other than you. It is you to say, yes, I was in office, I was out of office, but my report indicates that the previous administration did not leave records, and this is the action I've taken.
The governor who is supposed to provide us with documents from the county government of Lamu is telling us they have no documents. So it doesn't matter how much we prosecute, it's not going to help us.
Produce a letter of complaint that you wrote to DCI and to EACC for both the Auditor General and also to us and the committee through the clerk, so we are seized of that problems. Now, I'd like to plead with this committee that the previous governor is alive and well, and the officers with whom he was doing these things, also within the country. It would help immensely with accountability if you could summon them and ask them the questions about the things that they did or did not do.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Wildlife Service officials in Trans Nzoia County held a meeting with residents of Titimet and Chepkirot villages following a recent human-wildlife conflict in the area. Boniface Baraza has the details.
The conflict started following a shooting incident that saw 4 youths, among them from 2 students, seriously injured. During the incident, a woman lost her 8th-month pregnancy due to trauma.
Na vile walipika marisasi ndio ikaenda kuwa bahati mbaya ikapata huyo kijana. Sasa huyo kijana ndio akaumia, lakini vile aliumia na wakaanza kupiga wengine ambapo hawakuwa na neno yoyote.
Mount Elgon Park Senior Warden Josephat Wambua report that the government has launched investigations into the matter to apprehend the culprits.
On behalf of KWS, nataka kusema pole. Iko maneno ilitokea, sisi tuko na makosa na nyinyi mko na makosa. Mjue kwa pande yangu askari 4 umengonga kifua 2 mguu na mawe.
Ile miti iko hapa ni ile tu mulipata wakati mulipewa shamba. Ile ninaomba panda miti mahali kidogo, mahali unaweza toa gunia kama 3-4 ya mahindi, panda miti. Watoto wako wapate mahali ya kuni, ndio tusiende mustuni.
The area member of parliament Dr. Robert Bukose wants justice done and farmers compensated for the loss of their crops.
Tumeomba msamaha na pia hawa wameomba msamaha, si ndio? Tufungue chapter mpya. Askari wasio wanakuja sasa kuingia kwa manyumba zetu bila wakisema wanataka mtu fulani, tupitie njia ambayo tumewasiliana na viongozi wale wako hapa. Na ile mimea ambayo imeharibiwa na KW na elephants, Bwana Warden, tutafute namna ya kucompensate.
Endebess Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Haron Kamau appealed to the locals to report rogue officers for the government to take necessary action.
Sheria ni msumeno, inakata mbele na so mkuwe tayari. Tutajua nani ana makosa na tunafuatilia. bunduki tuko nazo, zile zilitumika, statements zimeandikwa. Sababu ukikuta watu wawili wanabishana, iko mmoja anasema and we will know the truth. Na tukijua ukweli, yule ambaye ana makosa lazima aadhibiwe kulingana na sheria.
Meanwhile, the victims of the last week's shooting incident are nursing their injuries and hoping for compensation. As the Sub-County Security Committee converge to deliberate on the matter, the big question remains, will the victims get justice? Boniface Barasa, TV47, Endebe Sub-County, Trans Nzoia County.
Thank you, Boniface Baraza, for that report. Elsewhere, a family from Chemia village in Mount Elgon is crying for justice after their son was allegedly shot dead by Mount Elgon forest wardens. It is alleged that the 23-year-old Daniel Kibet had gone to the forest to collect firewood for his wife when he met his death. Our reporter Wanji Sostin reports.
It's said that Daniel Kibet made his death while collecting firewood for his wife, who gave birth a few weeks ago. Affirming the incident, Bungoma Deputy Commissioner Kopsiro David Bowen condemned the mother, saying that it's illegal to shoot an armed civilian.
Tunajua ni uchungu kupoteza mwana, na ile kitu ningesema ni kwamba serikali, vitengo vya kufanya uchunguzi watafanya kazi yake, na baadaye watatuelezea kisa kilitokea haswa ni nini, sababu ilitokea ndani ya msitu na wako wanashughulika. Hata OCS ameenda kwa msitu kwa site kufanya uchunguzi wake. So kwa hivyo wale ambao wanahusika baadaye watatuelezea ni kisa gani kilitendeka.
Chebiuk, member of County Assembly Franklin Simotwa, regretted that killing civilians by government officers have become too common in Mount Elgon, urging Bungoma County Commissioner to come to the rescue.
Mambo kama haya si mambo ambaye imefanyika leo. Hivi majuzi ambaye miezi moja mbili ambayo imepita, hawa maaskari tena wamevamia mtu wakampiga, na hata hiyo kesi iko kotini haijaisha, kumaanisha kwamba wao wamekuwa wakiendelea na dhuluma ya kuhakikisha kwamba wanadhulumu watu wa eneo hili. Ningependa kumuuliza County Commissioner hakikishe kwamba hawa maaskari, yule ambaye amefanya hii kitendo ashikwe pia na apelekwe kotini na astakiwe. Ya pili, hawa maaskari wale wamebaki wote watolewe pale, tuletewe maaskari wengine.
The bereaved family, led by the area council of elders, want the government to cater for burial expenses and compensate for the young widow. Wanji Sostin, TV47, Bungoma.
Thank you, Wanji Sostin, for that report. Time for us to take another short break here on TV47 News Tonight. With me, Abu Bakar Abdullahi. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Health is wealth.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Thank you for staying with us. Now, it's no secret that schools will remain closed till the end of this year at least, as the government monitors the COVID-19 curve in the country. But as the schools remain closed and children remain at home, teachers and more so private school teachers remain cashless. Or is it only private schools? We'll make sense of that, and our guest tonight is Mudeu Kasanga, who is the chairperson of Private Schools Association. Mudeu, good evening, and thank you for making time for us tonight.
Good evening, Abu Bakr. It's a pleasure to be here to discuss this very weighty issue that has been in the education system for quite a while now. Thank you very much.
All right, we talk of teachers. We often generalize what that number is. To the specifics, how many people are we talking about in the private sector, in private schools?
We are talking about 155,000 teachers in the private sector. And we're also discussing here another 133,000 support workers, librarians, lab technicians, cooks, cleaners, quite a big number.
And this big number, as you say, are they getting any help from their schools as we speak?
Ever since the education system was closed down due to the corona pandemic, the pandemic that we are all sort of going through at the moment, the cash flows were interrupted, and that's where when the problem started. We started speaking about this. We have written to ministry. We've made suggestions and about how we can actually come out of this without so much suffering that has gone on. So from the end of April, the vast majority of private school teachers have not had a salary and workers. And now it looks like it is until the end of the year.
All right, and when we talk of teachers, we talk more than just the professional teachers. We are also talking of families that are dependent on these teachers. Is it so?
Absolutely. Yes, these are families. These are Kenyan lives we are discussing here. And I'm sure as media, you have had conversations with these teachers. You have seen the real face of suffering. It is beyond belief. I don't think education has ever been anywhere near the kind of tragedy we are seeing right now.
Mudeu, let me ask you this as the chairperson of the Private Schools Association. There are schools in this country as old as 20, 30 years that are private schools. Isn't it not an irony that these schools are claiming that they can't pay their teachers' salaries for 5 months? Yet they have been in existence for more than 20, 30 years of profitability, of making money.
That is it's a good question you're asking, but this is where perhaps many people don't quite understand how schools work and how they rotate the money that they have. For most school owners, infrastructure is by loans, by debt. And at the age of a school does not tell you that it is profitable. A lot of these schools are breaking even, on the more positive side, rather than outright making huge profits. Yes, there are profitable schools out there, and yes, you can see that those schools are able to maintain their teachers. We've got schools that have managed to go the extra mile and do a very impressive online teaching that has kept the balance going, that their teachers are able to keep working, keep earning.
Mudeu, you seem to be shying away
from... So that particular aspect
you at that point.
of assuming that the schools are making a profit has an issue, assumes that all schools cost education correctly. And this is one thing that people who run schools know for sure. That, for instance, if the actual per cost was ever charged, you'd see a very different fee structure. for parents to pay. There's quite a lot that, I mean, for many teachers, for instance, working in a private school is just the first job while you wait for the more profitable job of working in a government sector.
And
so
my question
that's
wasn't,
a bit of a misconception that schools are making
Mudeu, my
profits.
question wasn't on the teachers, it was on the specific schools. You seem to be shying away from the question of schools making profit. They do. It's maths. You calculate the number of
there are
students.
schools that do make profits. And like I have clarified, they are paying their teachers. But the vast majority of the schools are just breaking even term on term.
All right.
The vast majority of schools are breaking even term on term. Yes.
All right, let's talk of government bailout. Is it part of the agenda to propose this to the government and request for a bailout?
This has been requested right from the end of April, because we could project, we started projecting that this was going to happen quite early on. And we are asking it in terms of a government-backed guarantee where schools can access a fund that then they can allow, that would enable them to help teachers and staff. This is a repairable fund. We are not asking for free money. So we are looking at what the government has done for other sectors, the tourism sector, the SME sector, and asking that they need to do the same intervention. These are Kenyan lives. These are not foreigners we are dealing with. And as part of the COVID recovery, this needs to be considered.
All right, the Teacher Service Commission says the teachers who are on its payroll, employed by TSC as the employer, will not be affected by this. Is it a painful case tonight to be a private school teacher then?
It has been painful to be a private school teacher ever since education was shut down. There's a small segment, there's another segment of teachers that is being forgotten in this discussion, and these are the teachers who work who are employed by the boards of management of public schools. These are teachers also under distress, and they have not also received salaries. These are school teachers who work in public schools but are not employed by the TSC. So that is another number of 78,000 teachers. So we need to think clearly and soberly, and not just make this about public-private. There are teachers out there who work in public schools who are not receiving salaries as well.
All right, tonight, NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion says, and I quote, private schools should not take advantage of the situation and mistreat teachers. What's your reaction to that, if at all you want to react to it?
I have said this over and over, and I will say it again. Private schools have not been able to pay teachers. They have not refused, they have not been able. Those that are able continue to struggle to pay their teachers. I don't know how long they'll manage to struggle to continue to pay their teachers, but so far there are a good number of private schools that have succeeded in paying their teachers. I have not heard Mr. Sossion, Mheshimiwa, talking about the public school teachers employed by BOMs. So this discussion, as I've said earlier, is bigger than perhaps than just that public-private divide. We need to take care of our teachers. So yes, those who are employed by the TSC are sitting happy and can plan their lives. That is fantastic. Those in the private and who are working under BOMs are struggling. In the same education sector, we are not a different education sector. The reasons are exactly the same. The teachers in government schools that are employed by BOMs, the same thing has happened. There was no income for second term, there's no income for third term. It is as simple as that. So it's the same boat. So it needs to be dealt with equally.
All right, you say it should be dealt with equally. Yesterday we saw the Education CS, Professor George Magoha, order all schools, and in this he made reference to parents who had paid the excesses of fees in the second and the third term to refund or carry it forward. First, is refunding ideally possible for schools and more so private schools?
A lot of schools, where there are few parents, they are not the majority, they are the smaller number, and this is both in public and private, who pay for the whole year, already have their credit notes, and these credit notes are not voided by Corona. No, they're still valid for when we reopen schools. So the parents have their credit notes. I don't believe that's a problem. I think the bigger problem might be the fact that there was a lot of outstanding school fees for that first term we were before the virus came into the country. And we will need direction. We will need direction on how to handle outstanding bills from parents who have not paid fees. That's going to have to happen at some point. And this is a cross-cutting issue in both public and private schools.
All right, let's talk of the question of distance learning and as an idea that has been floated by some, saying that this can be an option for private school teachers to find an alternative way of teaching students while still getting food on the table.
We've seen a lot of innovation coming around online learning. The government itself is doing quite a lot through the KICD, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Very impressive work going on there. This has made access to content free of charge for students who are struggling right now to find to get taught online and to keep them engaged with learning. It is available through TV, through the internet, through the EduCloud, and the traditional radio lessons. Then there are schools that are offering online learning, and then we are now seeing teachers coming together and offering independently. This is the revolution that has been long overdue in education. I support it fully. I support it fully, 100%. Where teachers are coming together to do good work, this is to be celebrated.
All right, and as we conclude this interview, for a private teacher who is watching us tonight, what is your message as the chairperson of the Private Schools Association? We have as a KPSA has, from the onset, once we predicted that this was going to be a long-term closure, we have suggested to the government that they provide a fund that the private sector schools can then borrow from affordably, so that we can cushion the teachers. This is not anything that schools have done without feeling the pinch of doing. So we continue to fight for this fund, and we hope even through interviews such as this, an ear and the weight of the matter is consistently being put across. I know the Cabinet Secretary for Education is aware of this plight. We have made this presentation to the Ministry of Education, and they are doing what they can, and they are doing what they can to try and secure us some form of funding that can help cushion our teachers. We wish the government to act with speed so that this suffering can end. All right, Mudeu Kasanga, the chairperson of the Private Schools Association, thank you for making time for us tonight on TV47.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here, Abubakar.
All right, and just to put the numbers into perspective, according to TSC, teachers in public schools are paid 20.6 billion shillings in salaries per month. This brings the annual cost in salaries to 247.2 billion shillings. According to a circular as well from the Ministry of Education signed by the Principal Secretary for Education, Belio Kipsang, the government spends 13 billion shillings on free primary education, which is FPE, and about 60 billion shillings on free day secondary education program annually. But parents in public boarding secondary schools spend about 100 billion shillings in fees. All right, those are the numbers in as far as the payment of teachers by the employer, which is the TSC, is concerned. Now, teachers in private schools will have to feel the heat of COVID-19 for the next 5 months after the government announced that schools will reopen in January next year. Their public schools counterparts, however, are still getting their full pay or without schools. For some in private schools, there is no pride in being a teacher, as Andrin Kilemi reports.
Schools remain closed for the better part of the year. Teachers, more so those in the private sector, continue to feel the COVID-19 hit. So what is life like for a family where both the dad and the mom are teachers in a private institution? Let's find out.
Karibu.
Asante sana. Habari yako?
Nzuri.
This is Esoli Amendi's home. Amendi and his wife are teachers in one of the private schools in Kawangware, Nairobi. Since the indefinite closure of schools, their lives have gone from bad to worse.
Miezi minne imekuwa ni changamoto kubwa. Kama mimi niko na makataa ya kuhama. Jinsi ninavyokuambia nilifungiwa nyumba. Tulikuwa landlord wa kwangu wakati alikuja kwanza mwanzo wakati alikuja akapata huyu ni mwalimu, bibi yake ni mwalimu, hawa wote ni walimu. Ndio akaniambia sasa kile kitu ambacho tutafanya ni hiki. Wewe nimekuachia rent ya mwezi wa 5 usilipe, lakini uhame.
Amendi's greatest challenge, however, is raising money to move to a different house. A cheaper one for that matter. He says he has unsuccessfully tried to look for a job to cater for his family.
Mara kwa mara sisi tukikula breakfast, hiyo inakuwa sasa ni kama lunch. Ama tutakula breakfast kama lunch. Hiyo ni hali ya kuzubaisha watoto katika hiyo hali hiyo. Sasa inafika jioni, wakati naangalia kopo la unga haliko. Hakuna. Sasa hapo ndio uchungu wa mwanaume unafikia. Because mwanaume kuona jamii yake inalala njaa inakuwa changamoto.
NAT Secretary General, however, insists that private school heads should not take advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic to oppress their employees.
The private school owners must pay in full for all the months any teacher they have contracted under their employment, and those teachers who are duly registered and have got TSC numbers and licenses to teach, they must pay them. That is not a choice. And they cannot push the responsibility back to the government. The government is handling taxpayers' money, and it has to deal with the challenges in the public institution of infrastructure and hiring more teachers. That is the mandate of the public in terms of taxpayers and the money they can access through any form. The mandate of the government is to deliver public education of good quality. And any private investor, if they are unable to sustain their businesses, then they should close down and release the children to join public schools so that government can take over the education of those children in public schools.
Lack of funds, lack of food to put on the table are among many other challenges facing private school teachers, most of them getting into psychological problems and depression.
Personally, nafika mahali na regret. Mbona nikajiingiza kwa walimu? Ndio nilikuwa na ile passion ya kufundisha na kuwa mwalimu. Lakini changamoto ambayo tunapitia inafika mahali unapoteza ile moyo.
Imekuwa ngumu. Mimi nimesema if anything hata niitwe tu kazi anywhere. Haki nitawacha kabisa kazi ya walimu. Because yani nimesafa. Kama nikuumia nimeumia this year 2020. Sitaisahau.
For Amendi and his wife, there is no pride in being a teacher. And for the next 5 months, they will have to look for an alternative at least to survive.
As teachers in the public sector continue to enjoy their earnings, their counterparts in the private sector continue to languish in poverty in the hope that the government will intervene. Andrine Kilemi, TV47, Kawangware, Nairobi.
Thank you, Andrine Kilemi, for that report. It's time for us to take another short break here on TV47 News Tonight. I will be back with sports news after this break. Welcome back. Let's get to the world of sports now. And sportsmen continue to improvise ways of enjoying their respective sports despite the biting of COVID-19 pandemic that has grounded the sector. In Nairobi, for instance, there is a group of cyclists who, despite enjoying the sport, are also using the bikes as a means of transport to work. Our sports reporter Julius Juma caught up with them and has filed the following report.
Mid-March 2020, the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Kenya and sporting activities halted. For sportsmen, it spelled an unprecedented period of God for us all and everyone for himself. But for this group of cyclists, it was an opportunity to enjoy the sport under different conditions. And despite the medal drought, it's all fun here, they say.
Sipatangi hata mko last lakini sina shida, mushindana tu.
Nilishiriki mashindano ya cycling mara moja peke yake na ile kivumbi niliona huko.
Often using their bikes to get to work, this group gives a snippet of the benefits accrued from cycling.
Ni vizuri kwa your physical health, unakuwa fit. Importantly pia ni mzuri for your mental health.
Unajipata uko fit. Lakini ile goal ya kwanza ni unataka kufurahia.
And if you ever mistake them for being poor for cycling to work, then just know you are wrong.
Watu generally ukudharau. Jua nadhani labda unaendesha baiskeli jua una pesa. Lakini ningependa kuhakikishia watu ndio nitoke kutoka tuseme pahali kama Juja niende Nairobi. Nitakuwa nimetumia pesa nyingi kuliko kama venye ningepanda gari. Juu itabidi nikule vizuri.
And wait, how old is this lady?
Tunakuanga na ile group ya veteran because I'm now 50 years old.
50? Yes, 50. Half a century, I said.
Environment will become cleaner. Na hiyo vile nimekwambia unaepuka traffic jam, unafika haraka sana. Tatoa jam kwa barabara. Na pia exercise tu, unafanya exercise on a daily basis. Si lazima uende gym, hiyo ndio gym yako.
These bikes are jealously guarded and maintained. In metaphoric terms, the bikes are their alpha and omega.
Baiskeli zangu huwa zinakaa na mimi ndani ya nyumba, ziko na carpet zao. Na waziosha vizuri naweka juu ya carpet inakaa vizuri. Ukitumia grease, kitu cha kwanza ni ya kwamba baiskeli yako haitasonga vizuri kwa sababu ya hiyo friction.
Grease ina attract dust.
Yeah.
Ina attract dust, alafu hiyo dust ndio inamaliza components za bike.
To the ladies, one of you, Carol Mbutura, has some advice which still cannot be overlooked by men.
Lakini kuna wengine sasa wana complain uzito imekuwa too much. Wengine pia wamepata mashida ya mwili. So, lakini ningehimiza wamama sana. Baiskeli ni kitu nzuri sana.
This sport calls for the highest level of care, especially when cruising busy streets. As they say, road madness among motorists is real.
Wewe mwenyewe lazima ukuwe mwangalifu kabisa. Alafu kuna vitu ambavyo pia unaweza fanya kuweza kuhakikisha tuseme madereva wanaweza kukuona. Kama tuseme kwa mfano niko na hizi lights hapa hivi.
The first documented cycling race was a 1,200-meter race held on May 31st, 1868 at the Park of St. Cloud in the French capital of Paris.
There is the art of cycling, the art that is yet to gain the desired levels of popularity in many Kenyan quarters. But to this group, there is a matter of life and death. Reporting for TV47, I'm Julius Juma.
Thank you, Julius Juma, for that report. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. As always, on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible, bye for now, but I leave you with the weather updates. feedback, welcome any comments, queries or complaints regarding our programming content. You can get in touch with us on 0768095491 or send us a message on 22047. You can also send us a letter on Post Office Box 2358